Beijing is actively preparing a new economic weapon against the United States. This time, they aren't looking at rare earth minerals. China currently maintains a monopoly over 70 to 80% of the global solar market, leaving the rest of the world to compete for the fragments that remain. China achieved this dominance by integrating solar manufacturing directly into its massive, state-backed industrial energy grids. The first barrier to entry is polysilicon refining. It requires 99.99% purity, an incredibly energy-intensive process taking place inside these specialized industrial furnaces. Once purified, these silicon ingots are sliced into wafers under extreme heat. These components are as fragile as a dry cracker. The slightest tremor in the cutting process ruins the entire batch. These fragile components are eventually brought together in heavily concentrated supply chains, where the final panels are assembled for the global market. This concentration leaves the United States in a precarious position. Even with tariffs reaching 200%, American energy projects remain dependent on these Chinese-made components. If China cut off the supply today, the American green energy transition would halt. Rebuilding a domestic version of this supply chain would take until at least 2029 or 2030. Beijing has a loaded economic gun pointed directly at the future of the American energy grid. Beijing has held this weapon for years, so why haven't they pulled the trigger? They face a geographic vulnerability thousands of miles away. The United States is employing a strategy called skirt clipping, a methodical approach to containing China by cutting off its access to energy from rogue resource states. Iran and Venezuela were the first targets clipped from China's supply network, part of a broader effort to restrict Beijing's energy security. This leads to the ultimate U.S. leverage point: military dominance over the physical oil through the Strait of Hormuz. A U.S. blockade at this single point would immediately sever up to 50% of China's total crude oil imports. While China holds the keys to the future of energy, the United States holds a literal chokehold over the physical oil required for China's daily survival. To bypass these maritime risks, Beijing has pivoted toward land-based oil from Vladimir Putin. This resulted in a massive infrastructure push, with heavy machinery laying thousands of miles of pipeline across the Russian wilderness to connect the two nations. To see why this land-based strategy fails, look at the volume of oil China would lose in a Middle East blockade. Compared to that deficit, Russia's maximum potential production increase is tiny. It provides only a fraction of what China needs. Putin is a mirage. No amount of Russian overland oil can save the Chinese economy from an American maritime blockade. Ultimately, China's solar threat isn't an offensive weapon. It's a defensive bluff designed to protect their vulnerable oil supply. This creates a paradox. China continues to project hard military power in the South China Sea and toward Taiwan. But this aggression risks the very maritime stability China needs to avoid a catastrophic oil crisis. If containment causes an oil shortage, the impact will be felt immediately at the pump. For the average Chinese citizen, the economy would simply stop. This level of economic devastation creates a direct risk of internal unrest, much like the civilian anger that recently boiled over in Iran. A nation cannot weaponize the high-tech energy of the future if it lacks the fossil fuels required to survive the present. As the world's two largest superpowers target each other's core vulnerabilities, the era of cooperative global trade is fracturing. With technology monopolies and maritime choke points now being used as weapons, we are left to wonder, who will survive the economic fallout of the final fracture?
We build a world on fire and steel, through narrow straits where shadows deal. Half our lifeblood flows through the night, one silent choking in the light. Factories hum but fear runs deep, counting the oil we cannot keep. Across the land, a fragile line, but numbers don't obey design. You hold the seas, we hold the sun, but neither side is truly one. Future dreams against today. Tell me which one fades away. We're dancing in the balance of power and pain. Solar dreams in a world of oil and chains. You block the flow, we raise the cost, but every move is something lost. We're caught between tomorrow and now, in the silence of the choke point valve. Panels shine like a weapon drawn, a quiet thread of a coming dawn. 70% the world can see, but freedom isn't cheap or free. You cut the edges tight and slow, sanctions where the shadows grow. A careful war without a flame, but pressure always finds a name. You play the game of near and far, pulling strings we cannot scar, but every chain you pull too tight brings the edge closer to the fight. We're dancing in the balance of power and pain. Solar dreams in a world of oil and chains. You block the flow, we raise the cost, but every move is something lost. We're caught between tomorrow and now, in the silence of the choke point valve. Russia whispers through frozen ground, but numbers scream it's not enough now. 5 million barrels lost in air. No pipeline dream can take us there. So who survives when systems break? When people starve for power's sake? The future burns, the present bleeds. Empires fall.